Hello everyone. If you did not notice, Unity released their 4.6 update, so some things have changed. So I'm going to quickly kind of run over some of the changes, but not go heavily into detail. So if some of the menus are a little different, um, they're still relatively in the same spot, and we can kind of work from there. So first of all, up here at the top we've got some other controls in the transforms, such as one that's specifically for the new GUI system. There is a brand new, interface and menu system that they added. Thankfully I haven't gone over it yet, so I can actually dive into the new system rather than teaching the old one. Up here at the top, if you go into like game object, instead of create other, there's 3D object, 2D object, light, audio, UI, and then particle systems down here and cameras over here. So instead of it having a create other, it has that, and then there's probably some other things in component that might be a little different. But for the most part, it's all the same. The major change was the UI system. So with that in mind, this current video we're going to work on is actually being done on a different computer. I'm going to create some functional doors, and then we're going to create a package of that so we can take it back to our other project. So in here I have our first person controller. Let me make sure he's tagged as a player because we're going to use that specifically with a platform that we can walk around on. If I hit play, then we can see that this works. So platform, there's that, there's the sky. I can move around on the platform, and on this platform we're going to create some doorways, a couple different doorways. So let's build doors. When building things that need to be like relative to the player's height, you want to make sure that you have something to work with. So you can either like eyeball it, or the nice thing about seeing the capsule or seeing like a volume that the character is, that's a height for you to use. So if I create a cube and move it over to where the player's at, if this was my doorway and I wanted it to be big enough for the player to fit through, I would just have to scale it so that this player looked like it could fit. So it's already close to being wide enough, but I could raise it out a little bit, and then if I raise it up, it's gonna go under this. But if I raise it up and then move it up, kind of like this, get something like that's at least tall enough and wide enough. So if I shrink this down, then that's a good door size. This way I look straight at where if there's a peephole on it, that would be where I would look. The handle's relative size, so I could grab the door and open it. So let's call this our door, and our door is going to be one of many parts of what we're working on. So here's our door, set on this scary platform of sort. This door is being built from a prefab, so we need to understand that it needs to function like a door. If you've ever opened a door, which I hope everyone has, there is the big piece of wood or metal, and then a hinge that it's on. So we have our big piece of, let's say wood. So I have a material down here for wood. Let's make this look like wood. Boom. Now we have our wood door. Well, this wood door needs a hinge, and the hinge for Unity doesn't have to be like an actual object. We just need a transform. So this transform, like we see here, is in the middle of the door. I want one that's on the side of it. So a cheap trick for you to do is to create an empty game object, which is quite literally just a transform. Let's call it hinge. And then here's the door. So I'm going to put the hinge under the door first of all, and set it to 0, 0, 0. And then so it's in the middle right now, and I'm just going to hold control and drag it over to the side, and it goes a little too far, so then I can swing it back over. But right there, now I have a transform that's on the edge of the door and in the center of it. So if I drag this out of the door and then I put the door underneath it, now the hinge can control the door. If you go up to here where I have it set on global, if I set it to local, and then click on hinge. Oh, not center. There we go. Pivot. That's what I wanted. Changing center to pivot. Now it's on the pivot of the door. That would be the pivot of, that's the pivot of the door. This is the pivot of the hinge. So now when I rotate it, it'll rotate like a door should. That all depends on what style of door you are opening. So now that I have a door object, I need to create some sort of let's build a small structure around it so it doesn't just look like this blank little door thing. So game object, 3D object, cube. Here's my cube, and let's put it up around the door. And we're just gonna make a kind of a wall around it. So there's that. I'm gonna have it be around 2 high for the door, a little taller than 2. So let's go 2.3 or something. I could look at the door to figure it out, I guess. What is a door's height? The door's or hinge. Nope. The door's height in Y is 2.3 dot 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 dot. So here we go. Now that's the same height as the door, and as long as I put it the same position as the door, it could be there, but that's close enough. So there's that. When the door opens, I want to make sure that it doesn't swing into a wall or something. So I'm going to have it open out. So I'm going to pull this back a bit, kind of like here. So it's near the it's up, almost flush against the side, but I have a little bit of divot there so that we have some nice shading and whatnot around it. Pull this to the other side and construct that side. Cool. And then I'm just gonna make one more copy of this and then go across the top, holding control always to snap, and move it over here, top of that. Okay, almost like a Minecraft door at first, but there we go. Okay, so we got our wall. Tweak it as much as you want to get it to where you want it. And so there's our door. Our door then at the hinge can rotate open, and we can go inside. So this is what we're going to work with for our first door. Now that I have a structure, I'm actually going to go ahead and create another game object here. Put it at 0, 0, 0. So it was here. If that's a 0, 0, 0, then let's move. I want to actually put this at where the door is at so that it's relatively in the middle of everything else. This is going to be kind of the parent object of the entire doorway. So let's do something like that. So it's in the middle a little bit. There's my transform, and then all these the cubes that I created. Not the directional light, but cubes, drag under that game object, and then the hinge with the door under that game object. So now we have a doorway object with some walls. I just call these all wall. There we go. So those are walls, and then that's a hinge and a door. So now if I wanted to, I can duplicate this main object and move it over and have another one. Oop! Put one of the other cubes underneath it. Where's this one? This is not a wall. Get that out of here. This is a floor. Okay. Here's doorway, and now I can duplicate it, and then there would be another doorway. I'll need that for later. So, a door can't open without some sort of, functionality to it. So, we need to get that rolling, and the best way to do that is to create some animation first. So I'm going to delve into Unity's like newer animation system. They use Mechanim for it. Some of it's going to seem really confusing, but I'm going to do it very simple in this one so that as you go, you can learn more about how that works, but we just need it to function. So every door needs an animation of it opening, and then an animation of it closing so we can shut it. And you can change how both of those work, whether or not, our hinge works this way, but let's say you have a door that goes, up and down instead. You want one of those types of doors, or maybe it animates in the other direction. All of those can be possible. We're going to do this one first, and then we'll work on other stuff afterwards. So, let's see. Let's do... I'm going to go ahead and let's do on the hinge, add component, and type in animator. Then animator, I need to create a controller for it. So, let's go down to create a folder for Unity Basics. I'm going to create another one, animation is the folder, and then I need to create an animation controller. This one's going to be door. And drag this controller in. And then once that controller is actually on there, I can open up, there's the animator window. Animator window, it just looks like a big grid, and any state is a transitional point. So the animation system works in states, so the two states that we're going to need is like open and close. Let's go ahead and kind of set one of these up. I'll explain it as I go. So now that that's all set up, I'm going to go to, or also here, I believe, color mode. No, that one's fine. Update mode, that one's fine. So let's go window and animation. And here's the actual timeline animation window. So this is over time, and we're going to modify rotation over time. So I'm going to click Add Curve. It's going to start creating a new animation clip. I'm going to say door open, and I'm going to verify or specify which door open this is. So this is door open, hinge left. So now that that's saved, I'm going to do a transform and do rotation, and then the rotation, here's the close spot, go to here, and this is already set to record, so all I have to do is change to the rotation transform and start rotating this open and set it to the position that I want it to stop at. Let's go there, and if I go here and just move this timeline, you can see that now it has 2 keyframes and it can go to here and stop. So that is our, that's how simple that is. So once it gets to the end, it should stop here, and so let's go ahead and close this. Actually, go to the animator window. See, here is our new state. It's door open hinge left. So I don't want it to come from any state. I want it to start from an let's call it like a closed state. So let's create an empty state, and this empty state, we're going to call this closed. Closed can then, let's make a, there's no motion, we're going to create a transform to door open, hinge left. So, this is going to, if we're in the closed state, and I'm going to say this is the default state, is closed. If I'm in the closed state, I can then transition to an opening animation, and then I want to create a new state called open. So the door is open. And the only way that we can get the door to open is if it plays this animation. So in order for this to happen, it has to, from close, door open, then go to open, and then if I now go from that position, so let's go, let's click on open here, I guess, go to my hinge, window, animation, here, door open, hinge left, it stops here, and this rotation is, we have 114, 1798. I'm just going to copy this, so I have the same position, and I'm going to create a new one. So create new clip. This one's going to be called, and let me go back into my folder, animation. This one will be door close, hinge left. And then add curve, transform, rotation. My starting position, I want it to be the same as the other one. So I can go up to where the rotation is here and just paste it. And there's my starting position. And then it closes this way. So with that in place, go back to the animator. Now here's door close. The only way I can close is from open. So I'm going to say make transition from here to door close, and then from door close to closed, so that they stop at those positions. The only way that these transitions can happen is if we actually give it some sort of a condition, and those conditions can be based on parameters. So in order for closed to go to open, I need a parameter. So I'm going to create a let's do a bool, and then this new bool down here, let's call this door interact, and then door interact is here, and then closed. If it's closed and I door interact true, then it should go from hinge left, and then this one should just go based on the exit time. When it finishes playing its animation, it should go here. And then when we're in open, I don't want it to open unless we door interact. And then when we do that, it's going to go close and then hit closed. So when that happens, though, the interactions need to be canceled out. That bool needs to be changed. So let's see if I can. This is a little bit new to me, so I'm going to check something real quick. Window, animation, and in here, door open. When I door open, so in animation they have something called the event system, and I just want to see if when this happens, if I can turn off door interact. No, it doesn't have it. Okay. Alrighty. Delete that one. So I'm gonna have to toggle that bool off whenever that happens, based on my script. State transitions. I do this transition. Can't really tell it to turn off. Alright, so at least we can cause it to door interact and then go through its motions. So let's go ahead and make a script and try to modify this stuff. So under this folder, I'm going to create a new folder, call this scripts, and then create a new C# script, and call this base door, because I want all doors to kind of come from this point. And then let's do this on the hinge is set over there. So I change my pivot to center, and then the hinge only rotates. If I were to create a collision volume on the hinge, then it would rotate with the hinge. So I'm going to create one more empty game object and call this my door trigger. The door trigger needs to be at the center of the door. So there's a child real quick, move it to 0, 0, 0 of the door, and then pull it outside, and then put the hinge underneath the door trigger. So the door trigger is going to be, in essence, how we interact with the door. So I'm going to create a sphere collider. I'm going to set it as a trigger. And actually, there's like a whole edit collider thing here now. That's different. I'm going to change the radius so that I can visibly see that the player can stand within it to interact with it. Let's go like 1.5, something like that. So the player should be able to fit into that area when going either direction, and play this, and interact with the door and work with the animation. So then I'm gonna drag. For now, I'm gonna put let's put base door here, and then I'm gonna show you something else as I'm going. So open base door, get mono develop up. Take a sip of coffee. Alrighty. So here's the base door script. I'm going to zoom in so we can see this better. And for base door, what we need this script to accomplish, I'm going to start my comment, is the base door script is base door script will allow functionality for any type of door. And what I mean by that is that we're going to create multiple doors from this same script. So I just need this one to have the original functionality. One thing I need this to look for is an animator component. Animator, anim, and on start, anim is going to equal get components, or actually I'm going to need the hinge for that too. So it's going to need the anim, it's going to need the hinge, so game object hinge, because the hinge has the animation on it and the animator. So that's going to be hinge dot get component and animator. Okay. So once that's done, that fills this out. So this needs to be public, so we know that it's a hinge. And cool. So that's gonna start and grab that, and then we should be able to work with it. So there's going to be we need the names of our states, our animation states, or the clips period. Let's see. So anim, I want to see what I can get access to. We've got state, states, set state. Oh, we have a bool, set bool. We have a bool by name. The set bool being door. The bool being door interact, and then the value true when something happens. So we want to be able to work with that. I believe that is correct. So on update, if this works, it should just start playing through the animations. Should, if I type that right. So give it the hinge. I'm going to hit play, and it should start. Door interact doesn't exist, so I need to find out what the actual name of that parameter is. Is door interact one word? Okay. Door interact. Paste. Save it. Now, it should just be setting it to true. There we go. Door opens, door closes. Door opens, door closes. So it's snapping a little bit, but it's working. Because there's no, I guess, animation state on the idles. So let me go ahead and just give it a position, I guess. So closed on the door, window, animation, and let's say on the hinge, add curve, and we'll go transform position, and this, oh, not position, move this. This is still in the wrong animation. Get this out of here. Delete key, but remove property. Okay, so this still works. Still open. There we go. Open hinge left. I'm gonna make a new clip. This is gonna just be door idle, or let's say door closed, because we don't want it to do anything. We just want it to sit still. So door closed, still specify. So door closed, hinge left, and all this is going to be a still frame of rotation. That it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit here. So delete that. And this one also we're going to set to loop when it sits at this position. So it should, once it's there, it should just stay there. Then we're going to make another one based on open. So I want to figure out when it's open where this was again. And I'm going to copy this. Okay. And then I'm going to create a new clip and say animation, and this is going to be door open. Opened. Like currently sitting it open. Hinge left. I could have probably named those better. But this is going to be a single frame of rotation at this position. And we can get rid of this now. Okay. So now that we have these animations set up, I need to modify them. So I'm going to go to my folder over here in the project, go to animation, then find these animations. So opened, I need it to set up to loop. So hinge, when I close it, I don't want it to loop. I want it to stop. So I'm going to turn off that, and then on open, same thing. But when it gets to those points, I want those positions to stay. So I'm going to go to animation. Now we have these two other ones that have popped in here. I don't need these states though. I have states for these. So I'm going to delete these. Yep. Or not assets. I guess I could just change states. So hold on. Delete. Yeah. And I'll just re-input these back in here. So this will be, we can rename these. This will be door close, or that's open, I'm sorry, door open, idle, door open, and this is door closed, door closed, idle, and let's do this one, door open, and door close. So this makes a little more sense. So this is sitting still. This one needs to transition when I do something. The one thing I'm going to do is door interact. If I hit true, it's going to go here. Then this is going to transition here when it's done to here. Then this will transition here when I door interact. And then this will transition here when I'm done. This is now my default. Okay. So if I hit play now, open, close. Now it's not popping anymore. So we got our swinging door that just functions because it's always setting it to interact. We can walk through it if it's moving. If it's not moving, it would have collision on it. But cool. That's working. So we don't want it to just keep doing that. We're going to start working on our script again. Instead of doing this in update, what I want to happen is when the player enters the trigger volume and presses the interact key, the door will change states. Open to close, close to open. So let's get that working. An update's fine, but we don't need it. Let's add the thing we need to happen. So void, and this is going to be on trigger stay because we want it to be while the player is sitting in the trigger. Collider other is what it's going to take. And then in here I'm going to say if other, being the player, has a tag that equals player, because we want to make sure that it's the player who's in there, and only the player can do the opening the door. You can also do if you had NPCs or if you had AI characters or cinematics or something that you wanted to trigger this stuff, you could do that way too. So let's do if, let's go if and we're going to actually do input. So we're going to get the input. We're going to get a key. So if a key is pressed, we're going to look for the key code of E. So when I press the E key on my keyboard, it's going to trigger door interact. And when that is done, let's see. So it's going to trigger door interact, and I'm going to do. Let's make a separate bool so we can change this, so we can set it back afterwards as like a switch. So I'm going to set a bool. Did interact equals false is my default, and then if I hit the key and did interact, or let's say did interact is true. So in here I did interact, and then in update I'm going to say if I did interact. So if did interact is true. I don't have to say it is true, I can say equals true, but if you just leave it like that, that assumes that it did interact, or I did set it to true, or I can put an exclamation point in front of it, and that says that I did not, or it's false. So if I did interact, then I want to make sure that this bool is false. I also, I don't want to keep setting this to false, so I'm going to say if anim.get bool door interact is, if it is true, we're going to set this to false. So if anim get bool is true, set it to false. We're also going to turn off did interact. So did interact equals false. There's probably a better way I can do this, like setting the bool specifically on the animator rather than making a separate one, but I just want to make a check so that I'm 100% sure that this is working the way that I want it to. So I'm going to save it now, and so it's going to cause it to interact when I hit a button on it. Errors. Get bool takes 2 arguments. Let's see. 2 arguments, huh? What are they? So, comma, ID. Oh, so this is probably the, let's see if I did 0 for what state it was, maybe, or not state, but layer, 0, and then, let's see, get bool, the name of the bool, door interact, comma, or can I do this, equals false, maybe, door interact equals false, maybe I can do that, because it was setting it before. If get bool takes that. Okay. Confusing myself. And probably confusing you. So if I get bool is looking for door interact on, I'll just give it 0 for the ID. So if it's true, how's that? Let's find out what it takes. I'm going to open up Unity's site, unity3d.com, go to Learn, and go to Documentation, Scripting, and I'm going to say get bool is what I'm looking for the animation system. When I get bool from the animator, it's looking for a name string, and that the ID of the parameter. The ID is generally this. So the first bool, possibly. Maybe that's So the ID of the bool, let's see what that looks like. So this is the first parameter, so maybe that's what it's looking for. Let's find out if that works. So I'm going to hit play. Actually, I don't know if I have my trigger set up yet. Let's find out. Trigger, trigger, hinge, collider. Okay, so if I walk up to this and I walk into the trigger volume and I hit E, it opens and then it closes because there's no hash of 0 parameter. Okay. 32. Let's try doing this again. So when I say get bool says takes a string name, so let's give it a name. Door interact. If door interact equals true, set it to false. No. Left hand, oh, equals true. Save it. Oh, now it's working, apparently. So, walk up, press it. No. Not getting my door. If door interact equals true. Okay, so if the player enters the collider and I press E, did interact equals true, and then door interact, setting it to true. Once that is true, if, let's do this afterwards. Let's make sure we set this first and do this afterwards. Let's see, play, walk up to it, hit E, players within your volume, not getting anything. Make sure the player, set it to player, yeah, door trigger, trigger volume, hinge has the animation. Okay, make sure I'm doing this right. Input set it as true. I'm just going to remove my other bools real quick because I really don't need that. I'm even going to get rid of this update function and just say if I hit E, set it to true, get this to work again. So also if I hit E and set it to true, I'm going to say if anim dot animation dot, let's say is playing maybe, and if it's not playing an animation, let's do this. So while it's not playing an animation, if I interact with it, it should set that to true. And let's go back here and actually have an update, say void update, and I will do if animation is playing, then door interact needs to be false. Should remove that other step. So if it is playing, that should be set to false. Let's see. Errors? Anybody? Alright. Stop doing that. Make sure I see this trigger volume. Hit play. Getting a little bit of lag. Come on, Unity. There we go. Oh. No animation attached to hinge. Interesting. Anim dot get animation transition. No. Get bool. Should be able to get bool and not do an int, but do door interact. If I get this bool and it's true, then set it to false. What does this tell me? Okay. One more time. Okay, walk up in the trigger, hit E, no No animation attached to hinge still. Ow. What am I looking? Oh, this one. This one doesn't exist. So, get rid of this. Leave it. I want to make sure that if I mash the key, that it doesn't just keep happening. As I get this completed, I will explain it. So, E. Getting the E key. Anybody? Anybody home? No. Interesting. Animator. Let's follow that bull, I guess. When we walk up, hit E. Just never happening. This could be because of the update that we were doing. Let's again make sure this works. Something else is weird happening if enter. Okay, door just starts opening then. So we're gonna have to try to get the state that it's in. If anim dot state get animator state info on layer 0. I wonder if I can print that. I want to make sure I know what this is. So debug for printing. I want that info. I want to know what state we're on. Because this is base layer. Base layer should be 0. What state are we? That's not exactly what I want. That just says get the info. I want to know what state it is. Dot. State. Or toString. Name hash. Name hash. Print the name hash. Play. Oh, that's like a number. That's a crazy number. So hash is not correct. Let's get time to string. Loop length. His name is tag. This doesn't seem right. Get animator transition, bone transform, bools, components, float hash, layer name, integer, animation clip, state, type, layer names. I need anim dot. There's no state. Get current state info. Get animation clip state. Get animator state info. Animation. What does this give me? Period. What's in here? What is this? Get value. Printing this message. Save it. Takes an argument. What argument does it take? Argument takes layer. Anything else? No? Alright. Save it. Current state. Doesn't give me anything. So I could probably work around this if I wanted to make this simpler, just for the sake of the video. I would like to do it properly for you. Let's go to animator. Where can I get gets layer count? Here's functions. I need list of animation info. But is there a way I can get name? No. Get layer name. something. Get name of layer. Get no, not the layer name. I need state. Animator state. Get current animation clip state. Set target. Places to animator play. Places state. Can I just get is playing animator triggers info, is it looping? Maybe like, is it looping? Does the name of the active state does it match the name? Okay, is name. Let's see. Base item. Be in the form of layer.name. Okay, so animator state info is name. So I'm gonna say if anim.isName is name. That should be a function. Can I use it? Public function is name. Animator state info is the whole thing. Okay. If animator state info dot is maybe it's anim dot animate. Oh, it was animator state info. Current state info. What I do here? 0 dot is name. There it is. Is name. And then the string should be in the form of, and they said base. Idle, I think I called it. Let's find out if that's what it takes a string. Let's see if I can just do this regularly, because this seems a little confusing to me. I'm sure, like I said, it is for you. Minimize that. It is called door closed, door open. So in here on state on layer 0, if it's door, let's call this, if it's door closed, idle. And I want to do both of these at the same time. So if it's this, or I guess not even the door closed, I want to make sure that when it's functioning, it turns this off. So instead of door closed, let's do door open, door close. Door open or door close. So if we're playing door open or door close, I want to set that bool back. I'm going to get that bool back. So I cannot interact with it while it's happening. Save it. Okay. See if I can find what I'm looking for. Open. There we go. If I match the key. Hooray. We're getting something now. So I have a door now. It's actually running through the animation based on if I'm in the collider and I hit open, it opens and I can walk through. Close it from the other side. Alright, so the way this is working, so I can explain it, is we're getting the animator component of the hinge. The hinge is a public object, so we can just drag the game object into that slot on the inspector. Then on start, we were filling out the animation, the animator variable, so we can actually get access to it. Then in update, I'm checking for two states, if it's in door open or door close, so or door close. I'm setting a bool that we set up to false so that you cannot interact with it while it's playing these animations. Then if I'm in the trigger and I have a tag of player and I press a key of E, it's going to set this bool to true so that I did in fact interact with it. And the way this is working is it starts in the idle state, which is just playing a sitting still closed idle. When I interact with it on this transition, it's going to interact and go to open. Once it hits open, it's going to finish playing open and then go here. It says exit time when it stops to idle of it sitting open, and then once it's interacted with again, down here interact, it's going to go to close. Close is going to finish playing out and sit at a closed idle. So that was a lot of stuff. The other thing that I said that I wanted to do in here was make a package. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a package of what we have, just to show you that that is possible, but we will continue to work on this in another video. So I have a Unity Basics folder. I want to take all this stuff and turn it into a package so that I can use it in a different project. So I'm going to go to Assets and Export Package. In here, I want to create, I'm actually going to select what I actually want to export. So I'm going to say none, first of all, and then I'm going to find here's my Unity Basics folders. Here's all the stuff that's inside of it, and I'm going to hit Export. And we're going to save this to, let's go to the desktop, just say test package. It's going to export that. There's our test package. So if I go to File, or if I go to Assets, Import Package, and then hit Custom Package, and go to my desktop, here's that package. If I hit Open on it, now it says I have all these assets in my project, so there's nothing to export. But if I were to make a new project, I'm going to save this project, save this scene as door test, I guess. Actually, you're going to want to have that scene in there too, so we have something to work with, as well as let's make a prefab of our doorway. So before I even finish that, we're going to make another one real quick. Prefab, and then drag doorway to prefabs. You can have the doorway with the door with everything else on it, and then let's go create a new package. So export package. Let's do hit none, then select everything in my folder. So let's go here. I don't know why it's not selecting the folder now. Go out of here, go Assets, Export Package. There we go. Now it's showing it. Wherever I was in the hierarchy, it was showing from there. So none, hit Assets, Unity Basics, Export, save this as this package, overwrite it. Cool. There's our package overwritten. Now I'm going to go File, New Project. This one's going to be Test 2. And in here I'm going to go to Assets, Import Package, Custom Package, and import our package. And now it loads up and it tells us we have all this animation and prefabs for the door and everything, so import that stuff. And now in this scene I can go to prefabs and drag a doorway in, and this doorway already has our collision, our trigger with the script on it already attached to the hinge, and everything's already set up and ready to go. So that was getting the door with animation, with some triggers, kind of fumbling through some scripting stuff that was a little difficult, and getting Mechanim going with a door and triggering if we interacted with it or not, and then saving it out to a package and opening it in another project. So I hope that was really useful. It was a little lengthy, but this should be a great start for something we're going to expand upon next.